Welcome to Grace Healing House. This is a sanctuary for the everyday medicine women, the ones who may or may not call themselves healers, but those whose presence, love, intuition, and labor sustain the people around them. This space is for the ones who rarely get tended to, the ones who are tired of being strong, for the ones remembering that softness is not weakness, it is wisdom. Grace Healing House is not a place of fixing. It is a place of remembering, a place where we learn to breathe again, where we give ourselves permission to rest, to feel, to reclaim our voice, to know our body is sacred. I'm Tiffany Renee, sacred facilitator, intuitive guide, witness, and companion on the path of returning to oneself. This podcast is where we explore what it means to live from the inside out, to get free from survival mode, to reconnect with the divine design of our bodies, spirit, and ancestral knowing. Thank you for being here. Let's remember together. This is episode 7, Fault versus Responsibility. We are reclaiming our power without blame. So let's just take a moment to become really present with ourselves, to become really present with our breath. And I want to bring us into the heart of today's conversation. Fault versus responsibility. A lot of us have been taught directly or indirectly to make those two things the same, to believe that if something is our responsibility, then we must have caused it, that we are to blame, that we should have known better, done better, been better. But fault and responsibility are not the same thing. They move in completely different directions. And I want to speak to this clearly, especially in these spiritual spaces that we're navigating now, where we hear you create your reality. And there's truth to that. Yes, our inner worlds shape our outer experiences. Yes, our beliefs, our patterns, our nervous system, impressions show up in how we move through the world. But that does not mean we are to blame for the things we did not choose. The patterns we inherit, the roles we were given before we even had language, the pain that was passed to us long before we could understand it. There came a time in my own journey where I could finally observe myself, not judge myself, not try to fix myself, but witness. And it wasn't because I meditated enough or I was disciplined enough or I journaled enough. It was grace. Something bigger than me was guiding me into awareness. And in that awareness, I began to see how much shame I was holding. I noticed the small things, like how quickly "I'm sorry" fell out of my mouth. Someone can trip in the salon, and before I could even think, I was apologizing. That didn't come from kindness. That came from a belief that everything was somehow my fault. And when I really sat with that, I started to remember where that voice came from. Growing up, I wasn't celebrated just for being. I was validated when someone outside of the family would notice something good about me. And then suddenly I was acknowledged. So I learned to look outside of me for my worth. I learned to measure myself through the eyes of others, and that became the critic. That became a portion of the critic. The one who says, you should have known better. The one who says, it's your fault. It's all your fault. Why can't you just be better? And when I started to share my truth with friends, real, intimate, vulnerable truth, because that is not something that I tend to do, right? I was often met with comparison, dismissal, or justification for the abuse I had experienced in my childhood. And I'm not saying it was because they didn't care, but because they had never been taught how to hold their own pain. They only knew how to reflect it. And I realized something. All they were doing was mirroring what was already inside of me as well. The shame, the silence, the belief that I didn't have the right to feel what I felt. The belief that my pain needed to be earned, justified, or measured. Grace led me into a different awareness. The awareness of responsibility, not responsibility as a burden or blame, but responsibility as the moment I said, this is mine now. This is in my hands. All these feelings, all these things that are being stirred up within me, I get to decide what to do with it. And that responsibility looked like learning to feel what I had never allowed myself to feel. The anger, the vulnerability, the boundaries, pleasure, rest, worthiness. It looked like acknowledging that I didn't think I deserved softness because I was told I didn't. I didn't think I deserved protection because my body was not protected. I didn't think I deserved to have needs because the world around me didn't know how to respond to those needs. But here is where the alchemy began. Once I recognized the venom of all of those criticisms and judgments and all the things I had internalized from when I was younger and all throughout the different stages of my life. Once I recognized that venom, I could begin to call in the antidote. The venom was the shame, the confusion, the silence, the minimization of my own story, of my own voice, my own expression. The belief that everybody goes through it, so mine didn't matter. There's always something worse going on, so get it together, Tiffany. I know you hear me. I know that there is someone that hears me. And here, in this place of responsibility, is where I say, no, I will not gaslight myself anymore. I will not minimize my own truth. I will not dismiss the parts of me that are still tender. I will not look away from my own life, my own self. You cannot come into your wholeness if you are unwilling to see your life through the lens of truth. And the truth is this: it was not your fault. I'm going to repeat that. I want to let that land. It was not your fault, but your healing, your returning to yourself, your reclaiming is now your responsibility. It is not a punishment, it is liberation. So now that we've seen the difference, I want to say it plainly so your body can hear it, so all the parts of you can really absorb this. What happened to you in whatever phase of your life it happened, whether it was as a child, whether it was as a teenager, as an adult, whatever misfortunes, whatever abuses, whatever happened to you was not your fault, but your healing is your responsibility. Responsibility is not blame. It is not shame. It is not punishment. Responsibility is power. It is choice. Responsibility says, I get to decide what I will continue to carry and what I will set down. I get to choose the beliefs I want to root in. I get to choose how I speak to myself. I get to choose what my life becomes, not from force, but from awareness. Responsibility is not about fixing what happened. It is about tending to who you are now. It is the moment you say, I deserve to be well. I deserve to be safe, to feel safe. I deserve peace. I deserve to exist in my fullness. Because when we're in this place of fault, the question is, we start to ask ourselves, why did this happen to me? Right? When we step into responsibility, the question becomes, what do I need now? What supports me now? What can I choose now? This is where the nervous system begins to soften. Let's just take another moment here and feel the support underneath you, around you. Feel your breath move through your body. As you breathe, Notice that softness beginning to come into your being. Notice how your shoulders drop a little bit. Notice what happens when you release the belief that it was your fault. Just let it go. And as you breathe with that big release, notice the space that opens when you allow yourself not to be the one to blame. And you can repeat this to yourself as you breathe out loud or within. What happened to me is not my fault, but how I love myself now is my responsibility. My healing belongs to me. This is where and how we begin to reclaim our lives, not by erasing the past, but by choosing who we are and where we are now. This is where we begin to shift from surviving into living, into thriving, from enduring to becoming, from holding everything to allowing ourselves to be held. And I want to place this conversation inside a larger context. Because the patterns we're talking about, the shame, the apologizing, the self-blame, the need to hold everything together, these patterns, if you're tuning in here, they didn't just begin with you. They didn't just begin in childhood. Many of us came from lineages where survival was the priority. Our mothers, our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers, fathers, grandfathers, great-grandfathers, they didn't have the space to fall apart. They didn't have the space to pause. They didn't have the luxury of asking, what do I need? They didn't have that privilege. They were holding families, holding households, holding pain, silence, holding whole lineages together with their bare hands and their bodies. And somehow along the way, we learned to call that strength. We learned to call that normal. So when we talk about fault and responsibility, we are also talking about what was inherited. We are talking about emotional patterns that were passed down in the absence of safety. We are talking about survival strategies that become personality, identity, and self-worth. Being the strong one was not a choice. It was a role that was given. Being the one who holds it all was not empowerment. It was necessity, and necessity is not the same as wholeness. And now, in this moment, in this generation, we are the ones with enough awareness to say, I don't have to carry this alone anymore. Strength is not the absence of softness. Strength is not the absence of need. Strength is not self-abandonment. Strength is the ability to tell the truth about what we feel. Strength is allowing ourselves to be human, to put things down that were never ours to hold. You are not weak for being tired, for feeling tired. You are tired because you have been strong for too long without being held. You are not broken. You have been carrying too much for too many without space to breathe. You are not failing. You are awakening. When we understand our patterns is inherited, we stop blaming ourselves. And from that place, responsibility becomes softer, digestible, more like returning, more like remembering, more like coming home. And now I'm going to offer a few questions for you to sit with, for you to just allow these questions to move through you and let your body respond, however it responds. Where in my life am I carrying something that does not belong to me? What have I been believing is my fault? That is actually a wound I inherited. What is one place where I can offer myself softness instead of blame? If I did not have to be strong, what would I allow myself to feel? And again, just allow this awareness to move through you. Let the answers come. Recognition is already healing, it's already aligning. Just the act of noticing brings about a shift in you. And just breathe that awareness in. And allow yourself to exhale. Breathe in nice and deep. And just allow yourself to exhale nice and slow. Becoming so present with yourself. And now that we're in this place, I want to speak something directly into you now. This is the alchemy. And I'm not speaking to your mind, your logic. I'm speaking to the part of you that remembers. We're going to breathe in. It's not your fault. Breathe that in. It's not my fault. Breathe it in. You did not deserve what happened to you. You are not to blame for the ways you learned to survive. And now you are allowed to choose something different. You have the right to rest. You have the right to feel. You have every right to take up space. You have the right to be seen, held, cared for. Your healing belongs to you now, not as a burden, but as a birthright. Now let's repeat this together. This is medicine for me too. I release what is not mine. I return to myself with compassion. I choose to belong to myself again. And now just begin to notice how your body feels now. No judgment, no judgment at all, just witnessing. Just witnessing. As we close today, I just want to honor you for being here, for listening, for letting these words touch something inside of you, even if gently, even if quietly. This journey is not about rushing. It's not about arriving anywhere quickly. I know because I've been, I tried it that way. Running to where? To when? It's not about forcing a breakthrough or making yourself transform before you're ready. There's no such thing. Just won't happen. The journey is about remembering yourself. Slowly, softly, one breath at a time. You are not meant to carry everything alone. You are not required to be the strong one all the time. This room is for you to soften. This space is for you to be held. This space is for you to rest. And when you forget, because we all forget, just return to your breath. Return to the body. Return to the truth. You are worthy of your own tenderness. You are worthy of your own care. You are worthy of beginning again. And again, I thank you for being here with me today, for taking this time, for lending your beautiful energy in this space, your beautiful divine presence, your openness, your willingness to listen inward. Take your time re entering your day. Drink some water, move, breathe. Let yourself be gentle. Be gentle. I look forward to connecting with you again. And I look forward to hearing about how this resonates with you. I look forward to celebrating you in your softness and witnessing you in your softness. And I send you so much love for wherever you are in your journey. Ashe.